Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for movies that weren't even directed by Orson Welles. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tyler.
Tyler, what did we watch?
We watched The Third Man.
Perfect.
No, hold
Tell
on.
me.
No.
What? Tell me.
Cody, did you really... Is that just now that you realize that? That it's... You're like, okay. What?
Let's talk
He's
about
not
this.
Even the director? Because Cody...
Yeah, here's the thing. He's not the director. It was directed by Carol Reed. You're like,
director.
Oh, never heard of her. Well, first off, his name is Carol Reed. A man named Carol directed this movie. And I'm so upset because I had seen so many lists of people like Orson Welles. He's a legendary director. You know, he's done Citizen Kane, The Third Man, and others, you know? And I'm like, great. He's just in The Third, and I get it, right? He helped write it, whatever. I don't think Orson Welles is actually legendary because everyone's saying this is his best movie and he didn't even direct it. What a sham. You know, what a charlatan, what a liar. He's been lying to all of us the whole time. Tyler, tell me, what's this give all about?
Cody,
give me a rundown.
This movie is set in Vienna, in Austria.
Which is in... Oh.
I knew that already. Cody, you're going to come at a guy who is into history, specifically as a man into war history, which obviously includes both world wars, and has read several massive, like, the kind of books that history professors read about World War One. Nobody reads stuff about World War One. Cody, I think France were the bad guys in World War One, and this movie proves it. Okay, now it feels like it takes place after World War One or after World War, but not World War Two, right? But it feels like it came out when it would be believably set around World War Two, but like. Anyway, point is, I know where Vienna is, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Fun fact, all the worst Germans you've ever heard of, they're all Austrian. All of them, okay? There's at least two that are very famous, both Austrian, okay? And you thought...
Tyler, I think that's your best synopsis yet. Do you want to tell me your hot take on the movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? You know, where'd you stand?
I hate that I like black and white movies. I hate it. I don't want to like them, okay? Because they're so, like, hey, let's spend 3 hours, but they never spend 3 hours. That's the problem. That's why it's hard to hate them, okay? Let's spend an hour on this thing and then just be like, yeah, none of that mattered. Anyway... Check this out, right? Oh, hold on, Tyler, Cody. No.
Why do you even... My question is, why do you even bother watching movies in color? Because every time we bust out one of these oldies in black and white, you're like, you know, it was a good one. I think you're an old soul, and you just never knew it, you know? I think I've taught that to you about yourself.
But I liked black and white movies before we met. I just never watched them.
Exactly. I taught it to you.
Once... I was talking to my grandmother.
Yes.
From this woman, old. Very old. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking. I told her that I liked a certain movie, a certain black and white movie, and she looked at me and she was like, I think my parents liked that movie. And I thought to myself, Grandma, they didn't have movies when you were a kid. Which is not true. You know, they've had movies for a long time. But, you know.
You're drunk, Grandma. Go to bed. Yeah.
This is like... Here's the thing. Here's what people don't understand. My grandpa bombed Nazis in World War II. That's how, like... offset of a generation that I am is that we're young bucks. We're children out here. We're little boys, right? We're little guys, all right? We are young, hip, jiggy with it dudes, okay?
Yeah.
And my grandpa blew up Germans when it was cool to do that, okay? That's, what did your grandpa do to the Germans in World War II, Cody? Nothing, Cody, because he was, I don't know, what was he, 20, 40,
He fought
85?
in the Korean War.
Oh,
I know.
Korea,
Right?
Cody, this movie not set in Korea. That was a different movie.
Oh,
Let's
man.
talk
If
about
it was,
your
though,
hatred
ooh-wee.
for
Yeah,
speaking
no, look,
English in movies.
I agree wholeheartedly about your dislike for Austrians in general. No, just kidding. I liked the movie, and just like you, there's a certain point in the movie where there's a turn, and then, it goes from like a interesting movie to a great movie. That's all. I thought it was great, but also, why'd we take an hour to get to the good bits? But the good bits, they're pretty good. I liked them a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Carol. Oh, Carol. Why didn't you let Orson Welles direct this? He wrote it. He's in it. So what's your problem,
But he's uncredited as the writer, which means, here's the thing, okay? No, let's back it up. I don't think Orson Welles wrote this movie. I think Orson Welles refused to deliver his lines as written in the script, and he was in the movie. I bet he wasn't even supposed to be dead in the original script. And they were just like, it was a real apocalypse now.
You think they shot his 3 scenes and they were like, you know what? We gotta redo the rest of this movie so we can get him out of the first hour of this.
He was supposed to be like a, hometown hero, like just the best salt of the earth. And they were just like, man, you made this guy so unlikable that we just gotta, we gotta make him a bad dude.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened. Here's the messed up thing. Under Orson Welles' writing credits, he has an upcoming writing credit, and it says inspired by as the, like, what did he do? And I hate that. This man has a writing credit from 2018. I don't know if you're aware of this, Cody.
Well, didn't he work on his last movie right before he died, but then he did die, and then he didn't, and his granddaughter or daughter was like, they did him dirty or something. There was like a documentary about it or something. I don't know.
The man died in 1985.
Exactly. Did he?
That's what it says right here. It says October 10th.
Maybe he shot a bunch of it and never finished it, and they thought about putting it out or something. I don't know. Something was going on with it.
This man is so round. Right? Like, he's a very round person.
Yeah.
Why? His name's not even Orson. That's what's messed up. Oh. Nickname? The Great One. Go. Just F off. IMDb. Amazon, you can go suck a fat one with that. You know what I mean?
Oh no. Don't get Amazon on our bad side, dude. That's all we have going for us is our good relationship with Bezos.
Bezos, he doesn't run Amazon anymore. We can trash talk him. Who cares? Wait, no. We're trash talking Amazon. We still like Bezos. Never mind. We love you, Daddy Bezos. Jeffy boy. I'll let your freakish alien hand hold my hand.
And that time he went in space in a phallic rocket. Remember that?
You remember the time NASA redefined what an astronaut is just to make it so him and all the other billionaires aren't astronauts?
Got him.
Yeah. Oh, I hate this fact, but you know it. It's, that he was the first choice for Darth Vader. And then
who?
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles? Oh, I thought you were going to say Jeff Bezos. I was like, no way. Call BS.
No, we're back on Orson Welles.
Can you imagine? A pubescent Jeff Bezos is Darth Vader?
I do every day. It's part of my morning.
Orson
rituals.
Welles is Darth Vader.
But instead they're like, let's give this
No.
this young buck, this small child off the street, let's give him $20 and have him read the lines instead.
Remember when Darth Vader had an Irish accent and they were like, we're going to dub over all this, right? And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll fix it in post.
Let's talk about that for a second. All right. I was talking to my wife earlier about we all sat and we all hated on the prequels. And what did we all learn? We all learned that turns out they're not that bad. And now everybody loves them and they're great.
I strongly disagree with your conclusion, but carry on.
My point is, Cody, do you hate the prequels still?
Yeah.
Based on the vast majority of people in the world, you're wrong and you're stupid and you're a hater. So I just need you to understand that. All right, because everybody that's in the past,
let me level set here.
Still hating on it.
Did the prequels have great lightsaber fights? Yes. Was that enough for me as a child to love them? Yes. Carry on.
But they're better than the sequels, and the sequels will be better than whatever comes next.
Remember when Rian Johnson made a Star Wars movie?
It sucked. It was so bad. No, it's good. I liked it, but here's the problem. Disney. Listen up. You suck. Bob Iger? Okay. No. Hold on. We're getting even deeper into it. Everybody's like, oh, Walt, Nazi. You know, I'm going to say it right now. Walt made it very clear in 1940s that he was not a Nazi. But you know who has made it abundantly clear in 2000s, in the 2020s? That he is a Nazi is Bob Iger. I said it, Cody. Oh, I've thrown it in his face. The man's a leech. He is probably the weird clone of Hitler crossed with Walt Disney. That's what I think he is. Anyway, Cody, now that we both agree on that. Anyway, my point is, George Lucas did something with those prequels. This is what he did. He said to everything, we'll fix it in post. Because let's talk about these animations. Let's talk about the pear scene. Everybody knows the famous pear scene from the second movie, the worst of every Star Wars movie. I actively skip it every time.
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. It's the worst. It's the lowest of the lows. But what's the best Star Wars movie? That's right. It's the third movie. Anyway, moving on, Cody.
I mean, I've got empirical evidence that says it's The Last Jedi, but carry on.
It's not. Last Jedi.
From your mouth, dude. Dude, you want me to pull up our Star Wars rankings? Because we reviewed Last Jedi and we were like, oh, right, forgot was the best one. We reviewed it twice.
But if you look at the first review, we hated it and then we loved it. And I was like, well, how? I always think to myself, why does everybody flip-flop on this movie so much? And then I listened to our first one after redoing it and I was like, oh my gosh, we did it too. We're part of the problem, Cody. Why are we gutless flip-floppers, okay? My point is, Cody, if you watch the pear scene, everybody knows the pear. Everybody knows that's the sound effects it need, right? But you don't realize that all of their plates, their cups, their dishes, everything, all of like the metal reflective things they're wearing, all their dishes are glass. They're in like a fake room with bright blue on every window. All right. But you could see the trees outside reflected in Anakin's plate, Cody. Nobody points that out. We all just remember the freaking pear. You could have just put a pear on the fork. So what I'm saying is, did you know, Cody, there's a point in the the episode 3 when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting? We all thought that's the best lightsaber fight. There's an entire scene that they didn't film, but George Lucas was like, I want it. Oh, should we get him back to film it? Nah, just do it in animation. And they animated it and nobody freaking noticed. These people were masters of their crafts and they were asked to do the worst stuff. And then, Cody, and then they do a thing with a pear that makes it, go, and then we're all like, you guys suck. Cody, I want an apology on their behalf from you for only ever noticing the pear and the weird way he rolls when he falls off the tick cow thing, and not the fact that there is no blue visible in a table full of glass dinnerware filmed on a blue screen stage.
Should we dive right into it?
Yeah, let's dive right into it. Cody, miss this plane to Spoiler Town with me, and let's just sit here in Spoiler Town instead of flying or training or whatever. Train to Spoiler Town, USA, in Austria during some period of time.
Tyler, I mean, talk to me about, are you going first or am I going? I mean, you don't have any notes, so obviously I need to go first.
I mean, I guess I was going to say I can go first.
I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to hop in and I
was going to say I'm heated, ready. But you seem like you're not ready.
Have you been starting the time already? Because I was hoping that would all count.
No.
None of that counted? We're starting now?
Now.
All right, great. Tyler, I've got a comp for you, all right? A comparison for the opening credit music, you're going to be like, no, you can't do it. You can't win me over with your rant. Yes, I can. As soon as the opening credit music started, I was like, oh, snap, it's SpongeBob music. Did it not sound exactly like the do-do-do-do-do? Bum, bum, do-do-do-do-do. You know the SpongeBob music? Oh, it sounded just like it, and I loved it. Loved every second of it. And let me tell you, I don't know what instrument it was. I know they showed that the intro, the big stringed instrument, I don't know, had a bunch of strings on it, and they were playing it the whole time. And I don't know what, I know it wasn't a mandolin, but in my brain it's a mandolin. And I mean, I got questions, Was this movie supposed to be suspenseful? I don't know. Was it supposed to be a comedy? I'm not sure. But this music was playing all over the place, and it threw me. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if it was music for suspense, music for comedy, music for whimsy. I don't know what. Because there are times when it's like, this movie's kind of silly. And then times you're like, I think this is like a serious film noir. But no, it isn't. Here's the thing. So I don't know. Am I just a psychopath? Is this just a Dark Knight repeat where I'm laughing when I'm not supposed to be laughing? That's what I didn't know. That's what I need to know from you. Because he's like, Vienna's a cool city. I don't know. A bit bombed out. Not a problem, though. I was like, this guy's hilarious. His review of his city is like, it's pretty good. A little bit bombed up. Not worried about it, And I don't know, it got me. And here's what I think would have made this movie a perfect 10 out of 10. If there was a guy in every scene playing the music, because it's just like a dude, on a string instrument. If he was in every scene, I think this movie would have been a 10 out of 10. Because, sometimes the music just isn't matching the vibe for me. The characters are acting their heart out. Then there's just, kind of silly SpongeBob background music happening, So that's my first criticism. If there was just a dude in the corner playing the instrument the whole time, I think this movie would have been a top 10 comedy of all time. All right. Now, alas, he wasn't in there. I think the movie's kind of funny, but I don't know that it's supposed to be. But also, I don't think that's a knock. I hinted at it. You hinted at it. There's a point in this movie where the guy that's supposed to have been dead the whole time isn't dead, And that's when the movie starts, okay? Bailey spoiled it for me because she pulled up the IMDb and she's like, Orson Welles is in this. And I was like, well, we're 20 minutes in. He hasn't showed up. Obviously. No, she even said who he played. I was like, oh, so he's alive. All right, whatever. It's fine. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Sometimes it happens to the worst of us. Anywho, so I knew it maybe was coming, I was like, either it's going to be a flashback or he's alive, Right? It's one of the two. He's alive, and that makes a lot more sense. As soon as that kitty cat shows up, this movie takes off. And here's the thing. I know I talked bad about this movie because Orson Welles didn't direct it, but I'll say this. The moment that round-faced man showed up on screen, I was like, this dude's eating. This dude is gobbling up the scenery, and he's stealing every single scene, all right? He shows up. He doesn't even say anything. He shows up with a kitty cat at his feet, and he's like, ooh, I'm here. Doesn't say anything. Bam, you're like, oh, new favorite character. Who was this idiot we've been following for the last hour? He's not even cool. All right? So, whatever. He meets him. He has a dialogue with him. He chases him. He's on the Ferris wheel, threatens his life. And I'm like, you know what? For a guy who's threatening to kill his best friend, this guy's pretty likable. I would hang out with this guy. You know, the kind of guy who's like, he might try to kill me once, but after that, we're going to have a good time. I loved Orson Welles in this movie. I thought he was great. And, you know, it was a fun movie as a film noir, you know. The use of the shadows and everything really, you know, it looks so nice with the black and white, you know. It wasn't like the most aggressive use of shadow, but I thought it was effective, you know. I thought it was a good one. You know, let's see what else. I mean, what are my notes even? What, oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole intro monologue is just hilarious. He's like, you know, it's a good business being in the smuggling stuff industry. You know, if you're not a pro, you couldn't handle it. And it shows like a dead guy in the river or something. I was like, cool. You know, it's a funny movie. It's a great movie. It's a comedy for all ages.
I'm going to have to cut you off,
Invite the
Cody.
whole family. Orson Welles is in this movie.
Cody, I'm going to cut you off there. Shush, I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to get right into it. Hold on, let me get a drink first.
Take a sip.
Oh, yes.
There you
It's
go.
a little sip. Cody, shush. Now, here's the thing. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You led me to believe, Cody, through the monologue at the beginning that you knew was going to be there. And I know you went back in time and you recorded that this would be a funny movie. I waited for the jokes. They never came. And I was upset. And I was like, what kind of movie is this supposed to be? And I looked it up and I was like, it's a thriller. I'm not very thrilled that it's not funny, okay? I was mad about it. Also, Bailey, she's banned from spoiling movies for you anymore. You can tell her I said that. She's not allowed to spoil movies for you anymore. It's against the rules, okay? Here's the thing. All right, let's get into it. The guy doing his monologue at the beginning. Let's talk about him for a second. That man, he's just talking to a guy, I imagine he's not having a normal conversation, right? Like this guy, he's saying that, you know, like, oh yeah, Vienna, but this man's like, this is like the guy at the, you know, like he's sitting there, he's like, so did you what did you want to eat, sir? Like this is the waiter, right? He's saying this just to a waiter or something, right? Like this is a real sir. This is a Wendy's kind of a situation. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm envisioning. Because he goes, like you say, he's going on a whole spiel. He's like, no, yeah, everyone was racketeering back in the day. I was racketeering. They were racketeering. Everyone, your mom was racketeering, your other mom, and she racketeered him over there, and they were all racketeering. We were just a bunch of racketeering people. Everybody was a racketeer. I racketeered. Jim racketeered. Those people over there racketeer. And it's like, okay, I understand the crime that's being committed. Let's move it on a little bit. Let's move on from this. Let's move on from the subject matter of the specific crimes being committed. Because I feel like you could have just been like, you know, it was wild. This is basically what this guy said. It's wild out here in these streets. That's what he said. That's the entirety of what he said, okay? That's a whole speech anyway. And then how does he end it? He's like, oh, anyway, I was going to tell you the thing. And then the movie begins. And then he proceeds to presumably tell you, the listener, the story of the movie. But you see the movie, much as you envisioned it, where a guy who writes. All right, let's ask this question. Is he a famous writer or not? Because he's like, I'm not famous. And then so many people are like, oh, I know your novels. You've written a bunch. And I'm like, back then, Westerns were so popular. Those were such popular books. Everyone loved them. That'd be like, I don't know. It'd be like someone, George R. Martin or Brandon Sanderson or J.K. Rowling being like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of popular. I'm not a real author, though. And then somebody being like, I've never heard of you. I don't know your books. This other guy said he was going to give me a book. Anyway, your friend is dead. You know, like that's every conversation he had in the beginning. And then everyone's like, Harry, he's the best. He's the bomb diggity. Bomb.com. Cat only likes Harry. That's how cool he is. Then Cat reveals some guy, some random man that you've never seen before. He's never been described. He's nowhere to be found. He's just there. And you're like, and then I thought to myself, I said out loud, I bet that's Harry. But they really just sat on him and he gave his little like, here's why I don't like Orson Welles. The smirk? I hate him now. Nothing he will ever do will win it back for me now. That smirk he did, like, you know who I am. No, I don't, Orson Welles. You died 9 years before I was born, you old fart. Tell me who you are. Introduce a character once in a while, all right? You said one thing once on a deathbed in a movie, and now everybody's like, it's the best. Guess what? I have talked to people who have seen Citizen Kane. They said it's not very good. But also, Harry Lime was a terrible person, and he seems like he was never a good person, and Ollie knew it the whole time.
Tyler, I'm going to have to cut you off right there. You know, you had me at whatever you said, and you lost me at the Orson Welles hate. Look, I've never seen an Orson Welles directed movie, despite my best effort of watching this movie. So I can't speak to any of the movies he's directed, but, you know, I loved him in this. So good. He was so great.
So
Let's
round,
talk
so
about
soft.
this. Craven. Is that his name? Craven? Craven. How'd you pronounce it? He was such a vibe. You know, he was just hanging out. These dudes... Okay. My question is, all these people knew he was dead, but he wasn't. At least the couple friends did or didn't. I don't know. It was real fun to watch these people talk circles around the main guy who's like, you know, he's the true crime podcaster who comes to town and is like, I'm going to solve this murder. And it's like, no, you're going to get killed by either the police or the mob, but probably both, you know? And I loved that he just came in with that energy and everyone was just like, nah, there were two people, whatever. He's not dead. He's not alive. That would be stupid. Like, why'd you bring it up, though, you know? Anyway, he had a puppy the whole time. He went through that whole scene, didn't even realize he's got a puppy, you know? That's a different guy at the beginning. Went up there at the cafe, and he's talking to a guy, didn't even notice he had a puppy till the end of the scene. I was like, I gotta rewatch this whole scene. He had a puppy the whole time, you know? Craven, was he the guy? Darn it, which guy is which? Whatever. There's a bunch of dudes.
Here's the thing. Baron was the guy who's like, here's the thing. Okay, you're talking about Craven. I'm going to bring up the Baron, who Baron is in quotes. And I love it when they do that because it's like, oh yeah, the Baron. And you're like, okay, cool. We're in another country. That's fine. You know, there's probably a Baron. And then it's like, Baron, you know.
It's like if I went by Cowboy Cody, you know, and just like, yeah, Cowboy Cody, you know.
But the Baron is like, the Baron is the epitome of like, what's the game where it's like, find the anime protagonist in the crowd. Baron is the anime protagonist of this story. This guy is like he's like,
they shot a whole other movie where he's the star and they were like, well, he's already here on set, we might as well use him for a scene, you know.
I just feel like every conversation they had, right, is like when I'm tired and I'm just like a little loopy and I'm having fun or I'm playing like D&D or like a video game and I just like say, you know what, F it, yeah, what's up, dude, hey King, yeah, you know, how's it going? You know what? Guess what? Your advisor, he's super evil. You know, like just like let's throw it to the wind. Let's see what happens. Let's tell everybody exactly what's happening here. I feel like that's what Baron was doing. Like this guy fully knew everything that was going on the whole time, and he's like, "I'm here to help." Oh, is he dead? There was only two people for sure. Only two people, except maybe there was a third. Who could the third man have been, Cody? Anyway, ta-ta now. You know, like that's the Baron's energy. And I was like, I'm here for it. You know, Baron's here. This guy, Holly would have gone home in 15 minutes if Baron hadn't been there. He was like, now hold on, sir. What if I keep you here for just a touch longer? And you know, that's what every good story needs, right? It needs that, Like, oh, all right, let's wrap it up. And then you need a little Baron to come in and just be like, but what if? I just like
What?
threw a pipe bomb in
Oh
the middle of
yeah,
this.
I mean, who was the guy? Was it the Baron or the other guy who was? Maybe it was the police captain, but they like dug up the dead body and they were like, he was quite dead, you know? I'm like, for a movie that's listed as a thriller, it was hilarious, you know? Let's talk about the other scene that I told you. Look, maybe I'm just a sociopath, and that's very likely.
Yeah.
I couldn't catch the vibe of any of these scenes. Between the silly music and the subject matter, I didn't know what was going on. But remember when what's his name dies, and then his grandchild slash child slash mischievous middle-aged man in a little boy's body
I was going to ask
rolls
you about
around the
this.
corner. he's like, hey, get him, you know? What does he say anyway? I don't know what
says something in Austrian or German.
saying a
right?
bunch
Like,
of stuff in German
like
or something. And my note is the child thirsts for revenge, and he just sicks the mob on him, and I loved it. You know, I loved it so much because I was like, I think something bad's happening, but look at his wholesome little round face, you know?
But like at the same time, right? This kid, okay, no, let's dissect the reasoning of the child. He's like, this man was in the apartment yesterday. Grandpa or old man lover of child died today. You were last adult seen with old man. You killed old man one day after seeing him. Kill the guy.
Yep.
Kill the writer.
Yep. That was great. I mean, it was a great scene.
What?
I also, he runs away and is like, whatever, it's fine. I'm just going to leave town. And he drinks all night or something. I don't know. It's hard. It's been like a whole 2 days since I've seen the movie. How am I supposed to track any of this stuff? Anyway, he goes to, well, look, my note is the vibe in this strip club is all wrong. I think really it was a bar with a belly dancer in it, but man, was I confused. I don't know. He's like drinking, there's someone playing music, there's like a belly dancer, and then there's other people there too. I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't know what they were doing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's every old movie ever, you know?
Cool. I mean, if you want to win awards, I've seen like 6 old movies, and 4 of them have like a random belly dancer / strip club scene. So I guess that's just part of the formula, you know? There's this one, there's The Graduate. I guess that's about it, you know? But that's 2 of them.
Okay, let me tell. Here's the thing. Okay, Cody, I'm gonna.
Remember in The Graduate when Dustin Hoffman is like, I'm having sex with this girl's mom, so I gotta ruin this first date. I better take her to a strip club. Do you remember that scene?
No.
That's in The Graduate. I just want to tell you that. All right, carry on.
Here's how you make a successful movie in the 40s and back in the Disney, all right? As they say. All you have to do is find a middle-aged man that looks like he has the face and head of a 2-year-old, and he can do a little smirk, little
Smirk, yeah.
And you found yourself the biggest movie star in the world. And just put him in anything. Put him in any random crap movie, and you're like, everybody's like, I mean, can we give you 2 Oscars this year? Can we give you 2 Oscars for every award? Can you win all the awards and get 2 Oscars for the award? Can we just give you the giant Oscar that goes behind the presenters? You know, that's the secret.
Let me tell you why we played ourselves. This isn't even in IMDb's top 4 known for movies of Orson Welles. It's not even one of the 4. I thought this was number 2. I thought it was Citizen Kane, Third Man. IMDb saying Citizen Kane, Touch of Evil, Lady from Shanghai, and The Trial. Those are the 4 movies you should know for,
such amazing films that have stood the test of time. Everyone remembers, and we all love. You know, if I called up anybody right now and I said, you remember where you were when you saw Shanghai Sun or whatever? They would say, I remember it well. I remember Orson Welles was in it.
Yeah.
And there was some questionable depictions of Asian characters, but we forgave it because Orson Welles looks like a child with a man's body.
That's the one. Yep.
My point is nobody
Don
remembers
Quixote.
anything that any of these old people were in.
Directed The Trial.
Just,
I'm
old
trying to
movies
look at his,
old, move on.
Well, he directed Othello. He did Shakespeare stuff. He directed Macbeth in 48. Man. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who this guy is, I don't know what his problem is. I just know he's a legend.
But it's like, here it is. Prep yourself. Orson Welles is to movies what I think Babe Ruth is to baseball. It's like,
What?
when everything sucks and you're pumping so many steroids that you're probably going to die when you're 35. You're the best. But if you drop him in today, this man couldn't get a single movie greenlit. And if he crowdfunded one, because everyone would be like, all the snoots like yourself would be like, Orson Welles, he's back from the dead, one night only, to be in a movie. It would be a turd like no other.
Well, this is what's weird about it, too. If you look at Academy Awards, he has one win. One win for Best Screenplay for Citizen Kane. Nominated Best Director, nominated Best Actor. I mean, is it just that he's the first actor, writer, director triple threat ever? He also has he's the winner of the 71 Honorary Award for Superlative Artistry, Versatility in the Creation of Motion Pictures. Yeah, so that's it. Those are his Academy Awards, which is weird for such a, for such a huge name. He's got
one of the greats,
one Oscar win, one film nominated, and that's it.
Cody, I don't think you understand.
It was a movie that changed the way we think about what movies can do. Probably. Once again, haven't seen it. Have never seen a movie he's directed. But those smirk. You're telling me you didn't like him on the Ferris wheel threatening to murder his best friend that he invited. Here's the thing. He invited him. He's like, hey, come to Vienna. I got a job for you. You're a successful writer. Also not a successful writer, but yes, you're well known. Also, you're not good at it. He shows up. He's not there to take care of him. He lets him get rattled around for 2 weeks. Then he shows up and is like, hey, I'll kill you. Like, wait, hold on. Who are you? You and your best friends from back in the day, you invited him here to threaten him? I don't know. I got questions about him. I mean, I guess the point is, right, he's just kind of a grifter, right? Like, he's not a good dude. He's the grifter. They know each other from back in the day. I don't know. Such an interesting character. Oh, what a great dude. Look at that face. And here's the thing. This is my other favorite thing about this movie, because it's sort of a staple of like the old Hollywood movies, like the film noir movies. But it's like you've kind of got a will they, won't they romance, right? And this one's kind of a love triangle, right? Because it's like the guy likes the girl, but the girl's in love with Orson Welles, who's dead, but he's not really. But also Orson Welles doesn't care enough about this woman to tell him he's still alive, And so he's still, once again, just a terrible person. But let's talk about our leading lady, because you know what? And this is my last note. At least she's loyal. Good for her. In the face of the accusation that her lover is not only a bad person, but also faked his own death and also has done nothing to contact her, she's like, you know what? I don't like you, whatever your name is, guy, And I really respect that, about her, that she's like, and I kind of liked that it was a weird ending to a movie, but also great because he gets what's his name? Harry Lime, gets him killed in the police chase, turns him in, betrays him. The lady knows he betrayed him. It's a whole rigmarole. At the end, he's like, I want to stay behind, see if I can help her. And then she just walks right past him, gives him the cold shoulder. Good for her, you know? Was she right? No, she was definitely wrong, but also I respect it.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Cody. I've told you all the reasons, like the fact that you're still sitting here saying, "Oh, the movie, so good." And I've been sitting here tearing it to shreds, breaking down everything that it could possibly hold up as like a hope for it being good. But here's the thing, Cody. Cody. Come here. Come closer. Lean in. Hold on. Let me close this picture of your baby that I pulled up because I didn't realize that you sent it to me. It's a cute baby.
Yeah, thanks.
The movie is in black and white, Cody. That's what you don't understand. It makes it prettier than all the other movies. That's the rule. But also, here's the thing about these old movies is that I feel like the one thing that these old movies did that movies nowadays they just don't do, right? Good movies don't do. I guess I should say movies that anybody goes and watches don't do. I'm sure plenty of the movies that you've gone to see do this, but no movie I've gone to go see in theaters does this. Where one, they leave it open-ended. Did he, Cody? Did he shoot him? He shot the gun. Did he kill him? There's no hints. There's no like, well, if you watch it 8,000 times backwards and then mail a sample of your blood to Orson Welles, he'll tell you. Nothing like that. There's no real like full closure, but also it's like, yeah, the beginning half of this movie where he was investigating the death, that was all pointless, meaningless, and a huge waste of time. Anyway, moving on to the second half of the movie, which I hate, but I respect so much because it's like, you got me. You know what I mean? But also, he sat there, listened to all these people be like, Harry's such a good guy. And he's like, yeah, Harry's a good guy. And then the second the cops were like, yeah, no, Harry's a bad guy, you're like, yeah, no, I mean, he's a bad guy. Like, he's always been pretty bad. Like, he stole blood from old ladies when we were 7, or whatever. Like, I can't remember, like it's like if you grew up with Hitler, little baby Hitler, and he was,
It's like, is that like the Muppet Babies? Is that the German
exactly.
Muppet Babies?
He's like fully the guy, but he's just tiny. And you grew up with him, and and he was out there, drawing maps in the sand and forcing his little crab army to invade tiny little sand Poland, and out there like do it, just taking things and just like, I don't know, gassing all of the blue crabs or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you got older and everybody's like, he's a great guy. And you said, yeah, he's a good guy. And then they're like, you know what? Actually, he's killing a lot of crabs. And you were like, would you be shocked? Would you not be like, are you sure he's a good guy? Are you sure he's not out here trying to commit genocide on a certain race of crabs? You know what I'm saying?
I hear exactly what you're saying. I think what you're missing is, what if you were friends with baby Hitler, but the whole time you were baby Goebbels? And I think that's kind of what it is, because he's not a
worse.
good dude, right? Like, what's the main guy's name? Holly Martins. He like admits, right? Like, I wasn't a good dude. I drank too much. And like, so I think they're good friends from back in the day, but they were both not good dudes. And so like, oh, he's a good dude in that, like, he was a close friend of mine, but he wasn't a good dude. Like, neither of them are really good people. And so it's Holly Martins is there, and when he sees the effects of them selling the whatever messed up drugs that cause all the babies to go to the hospital with the sad bears, then that's when he's like, maybe I need to be a good person, even if it costs me a friendship, or even if it, And so that's what I think makes the movie interesting, is that you don't know much about Harry Lime, you don't know much about Holly Martins, except that, like, I don't know, Martins doesn't blow you away, and is also like, yeah, I write books, they're not that good. Some people are like, don't those books suck? But then some people are like, I know that book, I even read one of them once, I don't know. I also really enjoyed him going to the lecture. Like, some guy's like, you write books, you should come be our guest lecturer. And it's like, it would be like if someone's like, I don't know, if you invited Dave Pilkey, if you invited like Dave Pilkey to do a lecture at Oxford, it's like, yeah, you do books and they're great books, but also I don't think you're, here to do a dissertation on Hamlet, Anyway, it was real. Anyway, that's my thing. He's not a good dude. Neither is Harry Lime. And whereas, I don't know, you see Harry Lime for how bad he is, Holly Martins does decide maybe it's time to change,
Here's the thing though, like, right, because I mean, it's such an old movie, like old black and white movie kind of mentality, right, where he's like, we were both bad, I drank too much, and he gave tainted medicine to children that sent thousands to the hospital or to death. We're both bad men, and it's like, okay, let's back it up a little bit here, okay? Maybe there's some shades of gray here, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we need to, like...
But also, like
what is this?
Holly Martins showed up to help with the racketeering, right? Like, that was what...
He just knew it was a job. Look, all right. When your friend who only,
when you're a drunkard and your friend who's been getting in trouble his whole life invites you to come take a job, you go and do it
in a war.
No questions asked. Yeah.
Like,
I didn't know that about Vienna, though. It was interesting, like, the history of it, because I knew, like, Berlin after World War II was separated into, like, sections for the countries to run. I didn't realize Vienna was the same way.
Yeah, I mean, because they all wanted the power, right? But they say, they done the stuff, right? Because they wanted control of the countries, but then everybody was like, no, but I want control of the countries.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. The only people that actually wanted control of the countries was the U.S. and the Russians. Everyone else, it feels like, if you're reading a history book, obviously they were there for a long time. Let's talk about this for a second. Like, British and French, out of places like this, they were just like there for like 15 minutes and then like, cool, so you guys got this, right? And then left. They're like, you guys are on your own now. Hey, look, how about this? We'll just look, hey, guess what? There's a stack of bricks. You guys can rebuild the city, right? You good? All right, see ya. And they left. And then the U.S. and Russia proceeded to split a bunch of countries in half. And now we have North and South everything. But Cody, the South in most countries are the good guys. And in America, they were the bad guys. So get that through your head, because I had problems with that when I was a kid. It confused Tiny Tyler. It confused me. Cody, North and South? How can the South be the good guys? The South are the bad guys.
Yep. That's true. That's why you don't learn too much. It mixes up your brain, You just got to look pretty, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? Just give us a smile. All right, now get out there. Get out there, give us a show.
All right, yeah. What was the play? That's what I want to know. Was it a sexy play?
Orson Welles worked 1 week on this film. That checks out. You're telling me the guy who had 3 scenes was only here for a week?
Yeah, it just gives me the vibes of like that, like Apocalypse Now, where they're like, well, we had a plan. It's based on a book. It didn't work out because the guy that I wanted to play a thing showed up late, overweight, and never read any of his lines. So we rewrote it.
That was so good. I thought the use of Dutch angles was interesting.
You and your Dutch angles, all right?
I did, when they did it, I was like, okay, I actually think I know why they did it. But it's interesting, right? One of those things where it's like, if you do it now, it's considered like cheesy, or or it's just like a referential thing, whereas like this is a movie that like, hey, this was like when this was a new technique, they were experimenting around. So just kind of cool. It was interesting to see an old movie using that. But I thought it made sense, you know. But I was trying to piece together, like, okay, is the Dutch angle when someone's lying, or is it just to declare the, you know, the, is it to say that character's an unreliable person, or is it just because the guy's disoriented? You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to piece it together. It's like some of these scenes don't have Dutch angles, you know? And I never pieced it together, but it made me think about it, you know? That's something.
Yeah. It's something to think about for sure. Something to ponder on.
What play did you want to know about?
So when he goes and meets the lady for the first time and they're doing like
Oh, yeah.
a play with a dude, and I'm like, is this supposed to be like a sexy play? Because there's a lot of clothes happening for this to be a sexy play. But
Right.
then it seems like everyone treated her like she was like, if the movie came out today, she would have been a stripper. But I'm like, but this is a play with a bunch of French people.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But then she was also like, I can't do drama. I only do comedies, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a comedy. Maybe it was just one of those body comedies, you know, where they make a sex reference and people blush and laugh.
And yeah, and they're all speaking a different language.
Oh, here we go.
You
Here
love
we
it.
go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Since Orson, I'm in the trivia, by the way.
Oh,
Since
look at
Orson
you.
Welles refused to be filmed in Vienna's sewers, his close-ups were shot in London film studios, while a body double was used for his wide shots. The resulting footage is said to be about 85% Vienna, 15% London. What a hero.
He refused to be shot in Vienna.
It's like, yeah, no,
sewers.
I'm not going to go to Vienna to sit in the sewer so you can take pictures of me. That's great.
Orson Welles seems like a bad person, right?
Not if you ask his doubter. He got
Here's the
owned
thing.
by the studios, probably. I know so little about him.
You know who else liked him? H.G. Wells, when he met him once when he pulled over on the side of the road to ask for directions. And the person he asked was Orson Welles, and they hung out. Which I don't believe a single word of that story, but it's in the trivia.
That's amazing. This says when it was distributed in America, they replaced the narration at the beginning to help explain the status of Vienna after World War II. It's after World War II.
Then why don't they have flashlights?
11 minutes of the film was cut out of Selznick's version. That's a good question.
Because I was like, oh, this is probably after World War II. And then they used torches many times. And I'm like, okay.
That's weird. It also says they cut out, in one of the versions of the film, they cut out like the references to Holly Martin's alcoholism and stuff to make him seem more heroic.
He's a hero. So it's just him being like, I was a bad person too.
Says this is very popular in the
Anyway.
UK and Austrians didn't like it. I love that, you know?
Austrians, look,
I love that trivia fact because it's also like, who said that, you know? You talk
Here's
to
what-
the Austrians?
here's what I need from Austria. Before you do anything else, all right? Before you do anything else going forward, because I know we get people from random places, so someone in Austria is going to hear this. I need you to go, and I need you to sit down as a country, and I need you to rethink the entrance criteria to your art schools. Because I feel like if you guys are just, if you lax them up a little bit, we can avoid some future headaches.
My thing is like, it's art school, bro. It's all subjective. How can you kick someone out, you know? Aren't you just there to make money, you know? And that's really what the education system's about. It's about jacking up those prices and making the big bucks. According to this, Orson Welles did write his own dialogue. So there you go.
Okay,
Also,
no, because that goes back to my point, is that I bet he didn't write anything. He was just like, no, that's not what my character would say. And it's like, all right, what is your character's name? And he's like, does it matter? I
Orson
bet
Welles
that's a conversation.
wrote his own dialogue, and the fingers coming through the grill was his idea. But with him not being in Vienna, they had to use the director's fingers for the shot. Also, Orson Welles starred in a British radio series called The Adventures of Harry Lime, which is a prequel series to this movie from 1951 and 1952, based on the early adventures of Harry Lime. So there you go. The hero. Man. Tyler, so what? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did we miss anything? Did you? Oh,
I
anything
mean,
we? I mean, I
it's
know you didn't
only
take
an
any
hour
notes, but
long.
did you miss any notes?
Nah, it's it's the third man. Who was the third man? It was Harry. It was Harry Lime.
Harry
He was
Lime
the
is the
third man.
third man. Solved it, nailed it. Good job. Do you want to slap a rating on? Is the question. Like, I don't think you're prepared, but I will ask you.
I'm gonna give it a B, Cody. It came
Oh,
out swinging.
Tyler, you're not gonna believe it. I was gonna give it a B. You
Oh
old so and so.
goodness.
Here's the thing. I think the back half of this movie for me is like an A or A minus. I thought it was really interesting, really compelling. I liked the character. I liked the turn in the middle of the movie. I liked the ending that it wasn't no sappy Hollywood ending. She was straight up like, my life's ruined. You're lame. I don't want to talk to you. And I really respected that. I was confused by a lot of the movie, but I loved the back half. And if the first half was a little bit more like that, I might have rated it higher. But, it was solid. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's just like it's a good little story, right? Which I feel like like you hear it all the time, right? They're like, oh, they don't. It's all just franchises and remakes or whatever, except for the crappy indie movies, Like I feel like the only movies that have this kind of a scope nowadays are freaking horror movies, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes horror movies, all right?
Mm-hmm.
They're bad, and we all hate them, Cody. So I think that's why I always get won over by the black and white movies because it's always
Built
just a
different.
fun little story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're they're
Well,
not like they're not worried about like, oh, will this movie play well in this region or to this demographic? They're just like, is this a good story and did we do a good job? And then they're like, yep, here you go, people. And then they
yeah.
make $13,000 on the opening weekend, Cody.
Ooh. Well, that's the other thing. I don't know. The reason why I like the back half of the movie, I think, is like the first half. I don't know if I'm that interested in Holly Martin's character. I mean, he's like real nosy. When there's a murder investigation or not, like he's like buzzing around the police's business. He's obviously not that smart. But then as soon as Harry Lime pops in the picture, it gets real interesting for him, because it's like, what you can do? You gonna rat him out? You're not gonna rat him? What are you gonna, you gonna sit on the sidelines? Still gonna run away? What you doing? And so it made his character so much more interesting because so much of the movie is him talking to all Harry Limes' friends, Harry Limes' lover, his business partner, and they're like, "What a good dude! You know all about him. You know why he's a good dude." And then once he shows up, and you're like, "Oh, right, he's a bad dude. They're all bad dudes." I love how interesting that made it.
Yeah, and I mean to the a point like the Baron did show up and I can't remember what he said, right? Sorry. Baron showed up and was like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't even know what he was giving him, but he was basically like gonna give Holly something, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, Harry was worried about his friends and wanted to make sure they were taken care of." So like, had he just taken whatever that was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something where it's like, oh no, like Harry Lime was like, I'm gonna fake my death and run away and keep making all this money from killing babies, and but I want my friends to be taken care of so that he can kill himself with alcoholism. Like that's the kind of friend I
Yeah.
want. You
Well,
know what
it
I mean?
was also weird too that like he tried to save what's her name from being deported to a predatory government or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Bag that, you're acting weird. I'm gonna stay here." Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, so it was the
Things
Russians,
are not
Cody.
gonna work out well for her.
The Russians. It's always the
And the
Russians.
British police is like, "Hey, don't murder her." And they're like, "Sorry, gotta do it. I
Yeah.
feel like it."
I also like
I
with the
love when
setup.
like corrupt police are like, "Sorry, it's orders."
I
Like,
mean,
no, it's
they're not
not. You can do whatever you
corrupt.
want.
Okay, let's topic because here's the thing, right? They're not gonna explain this in this movie. I don't know if you know this, Cody,
Hmm.
but in every war they fight in, Russia, oof. Here's how Russia fights wars. What if we killed you by suffocating you under the sheer weight of dead Russian bodies? That's how they fight wars, and it's worked out great so far. All right. And so at the end of the war, they're like, cool, there's very few Russians left. All Russians now come Russia. And then so it was like, you're kind of Russian, come back to Russia. But a lot of Russians were like, but Russia is super communist and I don't want to do that. And they're like, that's too bad. So they're not necessarily corrupt. They're just like, hey, we need Russians to have Russian babies.
Did you track the whole Russia's UN debacle from like last week or the week before?
No, I haven't done.
I don't know when it was. It was recently, but it was like
stuff.
Russia was like, "We're in charge of the committee this month. Let's have a vote on why we're totally chill." And then everyone else was like, "Nope, not voting on that. You guys are maniacs. Anyone want to second that?" And the Russia's like, "That's not a cool vote. I vote to devote your vote that we're not being chill about this whole war thing." And like everyone's like, "Sorry, dude, you are out of control." It was very interesting. It was like 90 people voted against Russia, 4 people voted with Russia, and one of Russia's allies was like, "We're just not going to vote." I was like, "Ooh, that's a bad look."
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
no.
that is
Uh-oh.
when their closest allies are like, meh. But yeah, see, Russia, they've never been the most popular. But you know what? Here's the thing. They're out here, these guys, they're just doing what they're told to do. They're like, gotta follow protocol. That's the thing, Cody. Look, they're not following their protocol, they're following our protocol, comrade. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it a B, you know?
Yeah, you know?
If I watched it
I'd
again,
give-
I'd watch the scene with the puppy, I'd watch the intro
What
monologue,
about the cat?
and I'd skip forward to the kitty cat. You know? That's how
The
I
cat.
did it.
I did like. So here's the thing. I think that scene is the best because it's like the pacing of that scene. That's like the kind of thing that I'm like, they should be throwing this into like film studies classes, right? Where it's like, you know, she sets it up very subtly with the like, oh yeah, no, he doesn't like anybody. The only person he ever really liked was Harry. And then it's like long enough that it's like not like immediately like, quick, do the thing, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like so often happens now, but soon enough that you're not like, where did this cat come from? It's like, oh, the cat's rubbing up against somebody. Oh, you know. So it makes it's nice because it gives you enough time to figure it out on your own. And then they're like, here's that actor that you've probably heard of playing who knows who.
Tyler, I liked it. You're welcome.
It was a good movie.
You're
It was
welcome for
great.
another Cody's Corner. You're welcome for another black and white movie. You know.
Are we gonna do the thing? Are we gonna?
Yeah, you better
The
pop
device?
open the device.
Get the device. I thought it was open. It's not. It's downloaded and it's
Oh.
opening.
Better open it.
Oh, are you ready
Look.
to divine,
Divine
the
film.
silence?
Oh,
Is this the one
Dang.
with the guys
Okay.
doing the thing?
this is the one I put on here just for you because you complained
Yes.
about how we didn't. You wanted it. This wasn't. I put this on the list for you, so you're welcome.
Cody, is this the movie with Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield and Liam Neeson?
It sure is.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch this movie for so long.
I just talked about this movie with my cousin the other day. And I was like, that movie was kind of long, right? 2 hours. She's like, no, that's like a 3-hour long movie. I was like,
Oh, it's
it
3 hours
was?
and 1 minute. You
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour movie.
It's free
You better
on
Buckle
YouTube.
up, Peanut Butter Cup. All right, are you ready? Oh, it's going down. Well, Tyler, you're not gonna be able to get through this movie. It's 3 whole hours, and then you gotta last a whole another
wait.
60 seconds.
The YouTube, so it's for free on YouTube. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes on YouTube. Explain that to me with your precious science.
What?
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes on Paramount Plus, too.
What is
This-
happening?
This goes deeper than we could have ever.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is going to be a good one. All right. Well, Tyler, just want to say thanks to the listeners, to the real ones, to the OGs. Like us, share us, review us, rate us, follow us, worship us. And until next time, watch movies.
And have opinions.
The device, it works in mysterious ways, you know? When I put this on the list, I was like, it'll be 3 years before, Tyler gets to watch this. And here we are.
It looks so good.
All hail
captures my
device.
attention.
All hail device. All hail device. Device is so much better than machine, dude. You have no idea. That's what you don't understand. You're out here.
First off,
you're precious,
no.
precious to the machine. No, the device all day, every day.
First off, let's be clear on one thing. I made and named both of them. So they're both mine. I don't know why you're getting all uppity about it.
You're like Orson Welles. Show up here, make a movie, win an Oscar, and then ride on your, everyone thinks out here you got the machine. No, it's the device. And if it weren't for the device, you'd be nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Also, you got a good job. So there's that too, whatever.
Yeah.
Woo.
Tiny wiener, though. No, you're supposed to say no. You say no.
No,
Yeah,
what?
whatever. Too late.